Okay, so the key issue is that before we even can sketch, we have to have a ballpark idea of how much space do we need for the publication, the whole project. Now, that is a guesstimate. You know, if you work for a publication, they might say, here, you have 3 pages. They might say you have half a page. They might say you have 1 page. You might, just have as many pages as you want. Well, the bottom line is that when you go into InDesign, you need to start with knowing how many pages you need. You go into this create new document and it asks you how many pages do you need. So unless someone's going to tell you 3, 4, 6, 1 pages, you have to make that decision. So the way you can at least start to make that decision is to look at how big your story is. Now, in Lab 5, you have a story to lay out that is 1,500 words. It's 1,473, I believe. It's the story on the Night Owl coffee spot. Now, if we want to just, before we sketch pencil on paper, if we want to have an idea of, well, how many pages am I going to need? The easiest thing to do is to just start up any InDesign document. And I'm going to start this up as 2 pages. I'll make them facing pages, 3 columns, 1 column gutter. I'm just going to create it. Now, so I've got my 2 pages here. And so what I'm going to do is just drop some text in there. I'm going to get a ballpark idea. And to drop text into the columns, since we have columns set, we would just place the story same way as we would place a photo by going to File and Place or Command D. And I'm going to navigate over to my story. And here's this Night Owl story. Now it's in the Microsoft Word document. Note that I'm not even opening the Microsoft document. All I'm doing is identifying it within InDesign. So now I've got the story attached to my mouse. It's a loaded mouse now, loaded cursor. I'm going to click in this top column. So there's block 1. Now, if I go down to the bottom, as all the other videos have told you, you can come down to this little red square there, and it'll reload your cursor with the next segment of the story. So I've got that. I'm going to click here. I'm going to fill this space. I'm going to do it again. This is a long story. 1,500 words is a lot. The same as that MLK Jr. I Have a Dream speech, I believe. Anyway, so already I've got more. I've filled up 1 page. So I know I need at least 1 page. So I'm going to click on my red square. I'm going to go to my next page here. Come on, let's get this on the screen. I'm going to drop that into a column. Yikes, there's more. Do more. And there's that. Oh, holy cow. And here, I'll drop that in there. Okay, so now I have an idea. Essentially, a 1,500 word story is taking up almost 2 full pages of text. Now, it's a little more complicated than that because the text, if I select it, I will see that my text is in 11 point, and this is Times New Roman font. 11 point is, Ron Romain says 11 point is the appropriate font size. And it's readable. He thinks 12 is too big. I kind of like 12 myself, but not a big deal. Maybe it's because I'm older and blinder. But nonetheless, 12-point type or 11-point type takes up X amount of space. If I select all the type, if I just change this to 10-point, look at that. I lose a whole column of space. So I gain a column of space by making the font 1 point smaller. If I take it up to 11 or 12, if I take it up to 12 point, boy, that like runs too deep. That almost fills up the pages. So the font size of your body text is a big consideration. Now, again, the purpose for even doing this little exercise is to just get a ballpark idea of how many pages you need to sketch out when you're brainstorming design ideas. Now, what are these 2 pages missing? They're missing pictures. They're missing pictures in the headline. Now, you could just go with your page like this, but no one's going to read it because it needs to have pretty pictures, maybe, or just pictures. I shouldn't say pretty, but there's nothing graphically interesting about this. So we definitely want to add some visuals. So back to our initial thought here, the text alone fills almost 2 pages. So when we set up a document, when we start sketching out our project 3 or lab 5, we're going to need at least 3 pages, because to include pictures and the text, we're going to need at least 3 pages. Now we at least know that. So dropping the text in didn't really do any design work for us, but it gave us a more informed starting point by which we can make our sketches and build upon. So does that make sense? So it doesn't take however many minutes this took to explain. I mean, you can do it in about 30 seconds. And so it shouldn't be a big deal. Anyway, but if you do this way, the other thing you can do also, I shouldn't show you this, but I'll do it anyway because I'm a fool. But I'm going to go ahead and just drop a couple pictures in here, or insert place pictures. Go to File and Place. And I'm going to go to the Lab 5 photos here, and let's see, I'll find Joe. Here's Joe. So now I've got a loaded mouse with a picture of Joe, and I'm just going to draw and put him right here in the middle of it. So that's all fine and dandy, but he's on top of the text. That's not good. So first thing I need to do is, with that picture selected, I'm going to go up to Object and Arrange, and I'm going to send it to the back. Okay, so now the text is on top of him so we can read it. But then the next issue is that, well, that text isn't very readable. So what we want to do now is wrap the text around the picture. So the key with a text wrap is to make sure that with your selection tool, you have the image selected, not the text, but the image selected. Open up your text wrap panel. If you don't have it open, you would find it by going to Window and Text Wrap. And then you'd go to the second button here, Wrap Around the Bounding Box. I click on that. All of a sudden now, the text has been shoved away and off of the photo. Now, before we get too excited, what we want to notice is that the text is touching the edges of this, and that's not good. We need a little more space. From a grading standpoint for Project 3, text that touches the picture is a no-no. That's kind of a big point deduction. What you want to do is make sure you have even spacing between the text and your objects. That's easily done, though, because over here in that text wrap window, you can just click on these little buttons and that will help space it out. One of the big grading factors with all of this is just consistency. Keep your spaces consistent throughout the document. Okay, so that's good for now. Now we're actually missing a headline up here, so that's kind of a drag. Maybe what I'll do, let's put a headline in here. I'm going to take the type tool, and when you're adding things on top, you need to put your text in a box always. When you dropped or placed the text inside these columns, they made their own box right away. See, if I can just click on this, it's in the text box automatically. But right now I want to add a text box. So I'm going to click on my type tool. I'm just going to draw a space to go here. And I'm going to type inside it, a cup of Joe. Because that's the same as this headline here. I'm going to have to delete that in a second. But I'm going to select it. I'm going to make it 72 point. And I think I'm going to come down to my paragraph styles panel also. And I'm going to center it. If paragraph styles isn't open, that too, you'd go to window and where is paragraph styles? It would be in the, it's in one of these styles. Yeah, styles and paragraph styles. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to do that for now. And I'm going to go back to my selection tool. I'm going to tighten up the box. I'm going to move this down to where I want it to be. And now here's the deal. Just like the picture, I don't want the text underneath it or over it. So with that text box selected, I'm again going to go to my text wrap. I'm going to check on the wrap around the bounding box, and that shoves all of the text away from it one more time. Now here's actually a really cool thing. This is one of the big benefits of using InDesign this way, is that when, like now I have a cup of Joe, and it's repeated here from the Word document. So I'm going to just delete that. And when I delete it, the rest of the text pops back up. It adjusts accordingly, not only from the top there, but in all of the columns throughout the 2 pages. So there's kind of an accordion effect that if you cut out something here, the rest of it adjusts accordingly. And that's the big benefit, one of the big benefits to having placed the text as opposed to cutting and pasting. You cut and paste it like a lot of people do. A lot of students do, even though it's horrible. Anyway, when you place it, you get this big benefit, and it makes life so much easier. Okay, so here's one of the other deals, is that from a style standpoint, having this text, the uneven lines here, is kind of a drag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this picture here, and I'm just going to use my arrow keys to raise that frame up to the top. And that's just going to make it a little bit easier. I want the top of that. I just want better alignment across the top edge. So that works better. And a little benefit, I've got decent alignment at the bottom. So that's been kind of easy. Now I'm going to go down to my next page. And problem is, when I inserted the picture, that meant it shoved a lot of the story into invisibility. I've got my red square here, which means that there's more story to be loaded, but I don't have another page for it to go. So what I need to do here is add another page. So actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? Before I add a page, I'm going to throw a picture in here also. So how do I place a picture? I go to File and Place, or Command D. And I think, what do I pick? I'll just go with, let's put the patio picture here. I'll take the patio, and I'm just going to put it, I'll just click and drag. Okay. Now, okay, so same issue before. This is covering up the text. So now with the picture selected, I'm going to shove it to the back, Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Once again, the text is over it, so I need to do a text wrap again. I'm going to click that button. Now the text wrap is, well, wrapping around the picture. Of course, that just means that more of the story got shoved onto a page that doesn't yet exist. So now I really have to create a new page. And that's super easy. Again, depending on how you started your document. Let's see, I could go to just my Pages panel here. If you don't have a Pages panel here already, you go to Window and Pages. Funny how that works. Anyway, in here, you have a little plus sign. You can create a new page. And boom, there it is. Now, you could also use this little pull-down menu here. Click on that, and you could insert a page also. Now, when you insert a page, when you go through this method, it'll ask you how many pages and where to put it. I'm going to want this one after page 2. So that's good for me. I'm going to click OK. And now I've got a third page all set. And now I can drop in the rest of that text again. I can click on that red square. I'm going to come up here and plunk and plunk and plunk. Plunk is an official word, by the way. It's really important that you know the definition of plunk. All right. So, by the way, I'm going to just delete these captions because I know I don't need them. But nonetheless, here I've got what I've discovered now is that if I want to add these pictures in my sketching process, I'm going to need at least 4 pages. That's what I've discovered now also. The problem now is that I've got this column of space here, and that just kind of looks silly. So maybe I should put another picture in here. I don't know. Sure, I'll do that. I'll hit Command D. Let's put Sam in there. Oh, whoops. I'm going to hit Command Z, and I'm going to just draw Sam to go. I think I'll put her right about here. Okay. Now, same drill. Okay, I'm going to shove her to the back. The text is over her, so I got to wrap it. Let's go to the wrap here. Where's my wrapper? Where did my text wrap option go? It's here. Nope. There it is. All right. Okay. So, I didn't have the picture selected. Now I got to do it. Oh, come on, Davis. What is selected? Well, I'm doing so. Oh, I know why. I'm clicking. What I need to do is make sure I click on the picture itself and not on the text bar. You can see, like, when I clicked on the picture right here, it selected the text column, not the picture. So I have to click off of that. Come on. And make sure I'm clicking on the picture itself. Now I can see the handles around there. Now I get into my text wrap, and there it is. And oh gosh, look what happened. That just shoved things further away again. So it's kind of a game of cat and mouse. But what we've learned through this process is that if I'm going to have more than a few pictures with a story that's 1,500 words, I'm going to need 4 pages, or I'm going to need to use super small type or big type and go up in pages more. But either way, you kind of want to play around with this stuff. Get an idea of what you can do. I'm going to try just making this picture a little bit smaller, just see if I can make her fit. Oh, okay, now look at that. I've made the picture small enough that all of a sudden I'm back to having the bottom of the story work out just about right. So this is kind of cheating here, but, oops, I don't want her crooked. Oh, but that's perfect. Look at that. A little bit crooked, but I kind of like it. Oh, but I need to space out. See how that text is right up against the picture again? So let me get that adjusted here again. Make sure I'm on the picture, not the graphic. Space that out a little bit. I did that. Oops. And look what happened. That made my bottom line run off again. So I need to shrink the picture yet again a little bit. In your okay, so anyway, you get the idea, right? Okay, I know your silence means everyone's enthusiastically saying, yeah, I get the picture. So, all right. Okay, so anyway, in a nutshell, I ended up doing kind of the whole layout for Lab 5 here, but ideally the process, and this is what you should do for Project 3, get an idea of how many pages you need, then sketch it, then start your InDesign document. So you might want to stick in the back of your head that 1,500 pages is like 2 pages worth of type. If you have pictures, go up to 3 pages. If you have really good pictures, go to 4 pages. That's probably a good ballpark way to get the ball rolling and make something that's going to look nice. Does that make sense? Okay, I see those very subtle head nods. So, okay. Questions on this? Okay.